Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. So today we have Secretary Hillary Clinton versus President Donald Trump in the 2020 presidential election. A lot of you have been asking, what happens if a rematch happens? Well, I've done this video probably like 7 times, but obviously the map is ever changing, and which is why I always resort to this candidate, because she's probably the stereotypical Democrat that's probably going to run in 2020, and she's the first one that we should go to when we're talking about more of a generic candidate that would be plagued with scandals, as would most Democratic candidates. A number of these candidates that possibly could be running have a number of scandals behind them, exclusions like Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden, but the rest of them all are tied to things that could potentially drag them down and are recent. So Hillary Clinton, I think, is something that we turn to see improvement for the Democrats, because she lost in 2016. Obviously, she's more positively viewed by America now, because it's not really a war type effort between the two campaigns. People aren't going to necessarily hate her now. Back then they may have, but now they've sort of gone to just disliking, but still approving of her just being there. Obviously the approval ratings go up after the election because it's not so divisive, but still, we're going to see how this election turns out. So obviously she would win the West Coast. That's not going to be an issue for her. What's going to be an issue for her are these swing states that used to be swing states in 2016 that probably won't be if she runs again in 2020. States like Georgia and Arizona will probably stay in the Trump column. Now, I didn't mean to fill in North Carolina, but that just does my job for me, because I believe that North Carolina would go to Donald Trump yet again, just based off the fact that Hillary Clinton would not do so well on a presidential level if she ran for re-election. So, before I would have had her winning against Donald Trump narrowly, but we're going to see how this one turns out. It's going to be a little bit different. So I think she would hold on to New Mexico and Colorado, but here's one of the few things that I think would change. I think that Donald Trump would carry Nevada, and that's going to be a little bit different than what we're used to, because typically a Republican doesn't carry a state like Nevada, but Donald Trump came between 1.5% of doing it in 2016, and I think that his approval rating here is higher than in the Rust Belt. Well, I know it's higher than here in the Rust Belt, and I think that shows a little bit that Republicans are coming out and supporting the president, and so are a few Democrats in states like Nevada, which had a lot of independent voters, Democratic voters. Actually not Democratic voters, my bad. Independent voters approving of the president in states like Nevada, but not necessarily the Rust Belt, because he promised the world to the Rust Belt. Obviously, he's not going to follow through on every promise. No president ever does. But to Nevada, he's kind of just the sitting president, and they just approve him of how they see him. So, 212 electoral votes for Donald Trump. I think he would carry Iowa and Ohio. That's pretty solid in his column. I think he would win there. I also think Hillary Clinton would also carry this. Not also. I think she would also. I think she would carry the state of Virginia, and that puts her at 209 electoral votes. Now, Virginia voted for her because mainly of Tim Kaine, but I still think she would have won the state regardless. It was still a Democratic state at the time. 236 for Donald Trump, 209 for Hillary Clinton. So I think she would carry all of Maine except for that one district yet again. Up in New Hampshire, though, I think Donald Trump would narrowly carry New Hampshire. That's another state that would flip. Across the Rust Belt, I think he would carry Pennsylvania, and I think he would carry Wisconsin, effectively putting him at 271 electoral votes. Here's the thing. I think she would carry Michigan. I think she would do pretty well in the state of Michigan, enough to bring back some voters that have buyer's remorse about Donald Trump and that are previously Democrats. Down in Florida, this one's really tricky. It could go to Hillary. It could go to Trump. I'm going to narrowly give this one to President Trump, putting him at 300 electoral votes. So the final state is the state of Minnesota. I think Minnesota would go to Hillary Clinton yet again, because if she's winning in Michigan, she's winning in Minnesota. Although states like Nevada and New Hampshire flipped, these are typically swing states. These are not. They typically vote with one candidate, the Democratic candidate, by a solid margin, but Wisconsin and Pennsylvania are red in this scenario. But if you take those out, Michigan has been trending a little bit more blue. So has Florida, but I still think Trump would hold on to it, and Minnesota hasn't really shown any trending red tendencies other than the 2016 election. So my final electoral map has Secretary Clinton at 238 electoral votes to President Trump at 300 electoral votes. Thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down suggestions below, and I'll see you all tomorrow.